Hi, welcome to ITC568 Cloud Security and Privacy. I'm Peter White and I'm your lecturer for this session. What we'll be looking at in this subject is the issues that surround privacy and security in the cloud. We'll start to look at the legal, business and privacy requirements that a business has for a cloud deployment model. We'll look at risk management and how we've got to assess risk management for a cloud deployment model, particularly bearing in mind security and privacy. We'll look at and analyse the legal, ethical and business concerns for these particular sets of data. We'll start to develop and present a series of proposed security controls so that we can say this is the way in which we'd recommend you manage security and privacy of data that you are actually deploying out to the cloud. And we'll also try and develop and present a cloud governance framework, particularly for personally identifiable information, which will underpin a lot of these cloud operations for an enterprise. I'm an adjunct lecturer, which means I'm not on campus all the time, so the best way to contact me is by email, pewhite@csu.edu.au. Please ensure you put ITC568 in the subject line, or my spam filter could send you a message somewhere. Alternatively, you could put a message on the ITC568 forum and in Interact, and everybody can see it. Interact is our main site for resources, and in the resources sections of ITC568 you'll find the topics, our study guide, we'll talk to that in a moment, the subject outline, a series of readings, the journals and blogs. This is where you'll find the link for our online meetings, a number of articles that you probably should read, and I'll be putting up more and more each week as more things pop up. We'll have our forum, our discussion board, and I'll be making recordings of the lectures, and they'll be there so you can download those or stream them as you wish. So with the topics section, these are weekly study topics, which will have a bit of context that I'll try to put around that particular topic, and then there'll be some readings, some exercises, probably some videos, some activities and some research requirements. You will be required to do a bit of research in this particular subject. We'll have an online session each week, and this will be on Thursday evening starting at 7 p.m. These sessions will always be recorded. The recordings will be uploaded to the resources site, usually Friday morning, so that you can download or stream them. I appreciate that not always will all of you be able to make the lecture. We work. It happens. So if you can't make it, don't panic. You'll be able to watch the recording the following day. And if you have questions, email the forum and you can get in contact with me. The session format for this particular subject, you'll have to do a reasonable amount of research on your own and as part of your individual governance team. And so what I'll do with these sessions is we'll give a kind of a lecture format for maybe half an hour, and then we'll open it up into discussion, and the discussion can then go for as long as it needs to. So one thing I want to make sure is that you don't rely just on the session notes to give you enough information. You've really got to do additional research in addition to what you are provided with here in order to successfully complete the subject. Now, because you're doing a lot of referencing, and you will be doing a lot of referencing in this subject, I highly recommend that you use a reference manager in order to manage your references. And I would suggest Mendeley is probably, of the free ones, that's probably the best. So Tiro is also very good. EndNote is provided by CSU, and you can download that and use it. But of course, after your CSU term finishes, then you've got no license. So maybe Mendeley might be the best go. And the reference manager will not only help you correctly cite your sources. So, for example, as you find a reference, you put the details into Mendeley. As you're writing your report, Mendeley will allow you to cite the reference correctly. Of course, you tell it you want to do it in APA 6th edition, and it will put it not only correctly as a citation in your text, but it will build your reference list at the end of the assignment. Frankly, this is one thing you need, and the best part is you can use it forever and ever and ever. So you need to do this. You will be required to reference in APA 6th edition format in all of your assignments. So I'd suggest pick one, download it today, and start to use it. We'll talk to this in the first session anyway. We have 4 assignments in this session, 1 individual assignment and 3 team assignments. So if you're looking for an extension to an assignment, you must talk to me before the due date. It's not much use talking to me on the date or after it, before the date, and then we can do something for you. Now, we're working in teams for a lot of the assignments here, and in fact, in most governance work in industry is usually conducted in small teams. And so we'll be using these governance teams for most of our assignments. And the beautiful thing with the governance team is that you can start to share ideas. And not only can you share ideas, you can learn from each other and from and with each other. But it makes it very easy once you start working cooperatively to develop the governance framework that you're looking for very, very quickly. And so put some effort into working in your team, because I think it will pay you good rewards. This always brings up the question of assessment. How are we going to assess your work in a team environment? And so we do it in 2 ways. Firstly, we'll look at the quality of the framework that you produce. And then we'll assess the quality of that framework by the quality of the documentation that you provide to back that framework up. And then, having looked at that, we will then come back and look at the individual contributions to it. So we'll look at your individual contributions to the framework and to the documentation. And a lot of that will be determined by your contributions to the team discussions on your own individual team forum. Well, again, we'll talk to this in the first lecture and tell you how we expect this to proceed. So when we talk to the assignments, assignment 1 is your individual assignment. This is worth 10%. And this is designed to get you to think about your own personal approach and feelings on information security and privacy. You might be in favour of privacy, or you might don't care. Right? I'm not concerned either way, but what we need to do is get you to start thinking about it for yourself. So there's a case study there. You've got some requirements and some presentation and marking criteria. And the due date for this is the 23rd of July. So it's a quick exercise to get you thinking. Assignment 2 is when you start working as a team. This is now worth 25%. So what you're going to do is a risk assessment. And so there is a case study there that talks about some planned moves to a software as a service offering, and so you will undertake the risk assessment for that as part of a team. So you'll need to read the case study, the requirements, the presentation and marking criteria, and your team has to present this by the 20th of August. Assignment 3 is another team assignment, and this one again worth 30%. And the evaluation here is you will conduct and develop some privacy and personal data protection strategies. So you'll need to read the case study, the requirements, etc. And this time it's due on the 17th of September. So you've got a little bit of time, but you need to work with your team in order to get there. The final assignment is to develop a personally identifiable information, PII, privacy and personal data protection strategy. So you need to read the case study, the requirements, the presentation, and so on. And this is due on the 8th of October. Okay, so 4 assignments, no exam, but a fair amount of work. And the best part of this is that most of this work you can probably translate into something you can use at work almost immediately. And that's the way we've designed this subject. You will be doing a bit of research. So if you have any questions, please email me, pewhite@csu.edu.au, or post your questions on the 568 discussion board. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.